What's up, guys? Bang, bang. It is lunch money time. On a Tuesday, while Washington's trying to get rich, us is trying to get our lunch money right. I'm here with Polina. We got all black on, in uniform, ready to rock and roll.
Ready to rock.
And do not forget that BlockFi is now the sponsor of Lunch Money, which means you can go to BlockFi.com/Pomp. That is BlockFi.com/Pomp. And you can get an interest-bearing account that earns up to 8.6% APY. You can deposit crypto and take out a US dollar loan. Or you can buy and sell crypto on their crypto exchange where there are no fees, just spreads. So go to BlockFi.com/Pomp.
Episode 201 today. Okay.
Nice.
Thank you guys for watching yesterday.
I'm an investor. I sit on the board, and I am a very happy user, and so will you.
That's over. We're done with the ad.
Just saying.
Don't insert the ad in my monologue. Harvard, Yale, Brown endowments have been buying Bitcoin for at least a year, according to sources to CoinDesk. Some of the largest university endowment funds in the U.S. have been quietly buying cryptocurrency for the past year or so through accounts held at Coinbase and other exchanges. Do you know anything about this?
I think that every endowment is going to put Bitcoin in their investment portfolio because every investor needs to put Bitcoin in their investment portfolio.
What did you say that one time about universities or banks or masquerading?
Many of these are hedge funds masquerading as schools, for sure. If you got $40 billion in your endowment, right? By the way, that's not a bad thing. That's fine. Like, guess what? You should be able to do whatever you want with the money you have.
You got rich alumni.
Yeah.
That ain't me.
Well, that definitely helps, right? But also, some of the best investors in the world run these endowments, right? So it's, you got to just remember that the endowments are there to provide capital. What the problem becomes is if all of a sudden there's a downturn and the government is bailing out the universities, yet there's billions and billions of dollars in the endowment. That's where I'm like, that feels a little weird. But the fact that the universities have this trading operation or this investing operation, that's fine. I think there's a lot of people who take issue with the fact that they don't pay taxes, or they don't pay the same taxes as you would if you just had a normal hedge fund or a normal investing shop. But that's a whole other thing. Whatever. But by the way, they're super forward thinking. They were into Bitcoin and crypto in 2018, I think is when they started allocating.
Really?
So they've been way, way ahead of the curve here.
Honestly, in my head, 2018 was last year, but it's like 3 years ago now. Wow. Janet Yellen has been confirmed by the Senate to become the 78th U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. What up, Janet?
And the first woman.
And the first woman Treasury Secretary?
The first woman to ever be the Treasury Secretary.
Yes, awesome. The newly minted cabinet official hasn't spoken much on crypto just yet. But during her time leading the Federal Reserve Board, she indicated she wasn't a huge fan of Bitcoin, but called for a light regulation. What can we expect from Janet? I
think that Janet Yellen is obviously incredibly smart. Two is she has spent much of her career as, I'll call like a public servant, meaning that she worked at the Federal Reserve at various kind of positions there, and now is going to be the Treasury Secretary. The Federal Reserve, I think that she started in like the mid-90s, wow. So like literally like 20-year run. And she basically, the policy that I would say is going to define her position as the Treasury Secretary is that she is willing to constantly use a weaker dollar, so to devalue the dollar, in order to address unemployment. She's stepping into a situation where there's high levels of unemployment, and therefore my guess is that she is going to be a big proponent of continuing to drop the value of the dollar, or devalue the dollar, and to try to solve that unemployment problem. Well, when you devalue the dollar, that means that asset prices are going to go up. And so basically what we're going to see is a continuation of what we saw for the last 9 to 12 months, where asset prices exploded, the dollar got weaker, investors won, and savers got punished. So under Janet Yellen, it would not surprise me if all of this continues and maybe even accelerates. So Janet, welcome. I'm proud that you are the first woman. I think that's amazing. Please do not devalue the dollar too aggressively, but because I don't think you're going to listen to me, I will be positioning myself to benefit. Thank you.
I think Janet is a Lunch Money viewer.
Maybe.
Short sellers are down $91 billion in January as GameStop leads squeeze in stocks they all bet against. What has happened to the short sellers?
This is my favorite story ever. Long story short is there's a bunch of investors who have been shorting GameStop. It became the most shorted stock on Wall Street.
Wow.
120% of the shares were sold short, which is literally more than the shares that exist. And then some guys on Reddit who it actually started out as like a pretty legitimate investment thesis of, hey, this stock is undervalued.
Led by Crypto Kitten?
No, led by Roaring Kitty.
Roaring Kitty.
I don't think Roaring Kitty was actually the first one to come up with this.
What is Crypto Kitten?
I don't know. But what we saw was then there started to be a little bit more interest in Wall Street bets and some Reddit communities, a little bit more. Then all of a sudden, Michael Burry from the Big Short movie, he took a big long position.
Wow.
Then all of a sudden, the Chewy founder, he took a big long position. And then recently, over the last 3 or 4 months, the Reddit community just said, screw it. Ooh, you just got attacked by the yawn.
I give in to them.
And then all of a sudden, you saw the Reddit community say, screw it, we're going to take it to the man. And they all went long at the same time, and they short squeezed Wall Street to the point where literally Melvin Capital, which is a very well-respected hedge fund on Wall Street, had to take an emergency $2.75 billion from Citadel and Point 72 to prevent them from blowing up. This is nuts. Some dudes on Reddit essentially blew up a hedge fund on Wall Street, but important here. There are absolutely institutional funds that are also going long and helping to exasperate what's happening. So it's not just some guys on Reddit. It's definitely other people. They're not saying anything publicly, but they see the chatter, they see the capital flows, and they're also kind of putting some weight behind it. And so this is fascinating.
But does this have anything to do with the company fundamentals, or is this literally just some people on Reddit being like, we're going to screw the short sellers, so we're going to go in?
Well, it's a combination. Because like when Ryan, the guy from Chewy, came in, I think he took a board seat, and he's like, look, I'm going to turn this thing around. Like, we're basically going to make changes to the business so it stops losing money, it starts becoming profitable, we're going to do this, it's like a whole plan. And look, they might pull it off, right? If you can move GameStop from being just a pure retailer to, let's say, maybe they actually turn them into like esports centers, right? And then you also sell things while you're there. There's subscription. There's all this stuff that you can possibly do. But while all of that's going on, you also have the guys on Wall Street Bets that are operating under the name of Roaring Kitty and Deep Effing Value and all this stuff. And literally, they just short squeezed them. It went from $5 to like over $70. It's amazing.
I don't like the word squeeze. I don't know why. Okay. Ow. That's not squeezing. That's messing up my hair. Beyond Meat shares soar 31% as the company teams up with PepsiCo to make plant-based snacks and drinks.
What is a plant-based drink?
I don't know.
Well,
I think like it doesn't have milk. Has like almond milk. Isn't that a plant-based?
I don't know. I mean, look, I get the
plant.
I get the plant-based meat. Like, sure, whatever. If that's your thing, that's cool.
But this is good. Meat alternatives. Beyond
is it good?
Well, there's still studies show that we don't know yet, but we will find out soon.
There is one community that believes plant-based is the future. There is another community that believes that is not healthy. And there is another community that believes that you should eat real meat and not anything that is either lab-grown or kind of this plant-based.
I think plant-based is different from lab-grown.
Of course. Yeah,
right?
no, of course.
Like, lab-grown.
I'm just saying that there's some people who think that all the substitutes for real meat are not legit.
But I think it's more about the like sustainability issues, right?
Cow farts, methane.
All right. Anyway, the stock is soaring because of this partnership. I think PepsiCo. Why do we think PepsiCo's getting into this? It's like the most unhealthy company I think of. Frito-Lay, Pepsi. What else they have? Taco Bell. Don't they have that?
Hey, don't be attacking Taco. Taco Bell didn't do anything to you today.
Just saying.
Hey, listen, if you go and you get some Taco Bell, if you're drunk or something.
Twitter. Oh, by the way, guys.
Domino's and Taco Bell.
Speaking of being drunk, Anthony and I
Put the Taco Bell on the Domino's.
Anthony and I haven't drank a sip of alcohol since January 1st. It's now January 26th.
Oh, wow. We've done 26 days.
Yeah.
I'm going to see how long I can go.
Feel good. Look how shiny my skin is.
You always look that beautiful.
I'm waiting for that. Oh, okay.
I was probably going to get in trouble later today, so I just bought myself some points.
Twitter is working on a project called Birdwatch. It's a community-based approach to misinformation. Twitter has launched a pilot version on its website, and the goal is basically to expand beyond the labels that the company already applies to controversial or potentially misleading tweets. Now people can kind of add notes, I think. Hold on a second. Users can sign up on the Birdwatch site to flag tweets that they find misleading, add context via notes, and rate the notes written by other contributors based on whether they're helpful or not. This kind of sounds like Reddit to me. I don't know. So there's going to be a tweet. You're going to say, that's misleading. I'm going to add a no. But this is kind of like a thread.
Well, it's kind of like annotations, right?
Annotations, but...
Yeah. I mean, look, we'll see if it works. Obviously, they're trying to solve this problem. I'm a big believer in that we should encourage as much experimentation as possible. What is that noise? What could they possibly
construction or music?
I don't know what's going on. That's fine.
Well, all right. But hold on. Do we think that, people... I mean, one tweet is... I feel like people are going to use it to be funny. Use the note function.
Possibly, but also it could just be hey, if I tweet something, you disagree with it, you might be able to go in there and reply, or you might be able to add more context and nuance. Who knows?
All right, it's Ask Lunch Money time. #AskLM. TIB asks, hey guys, massive fan of the show. I'm currently studying chemistry at university, but don't enjoy it anymore. Ignore the noise.
What could they possibly be doing upstairs?
Only finishing the degree for the doors of opportunity, as I've invested too much in it to give up. Ooh, the sunk loss fallacy? Sunk cost fallacy. Looking to get into private equity or investment banking as a career into finance, but struggling to get experience. Any help would be appreciated.
I think that we now know it doesn't matter what you actually study. You can do anything you want. I wouldn't worry about that. And the best way to get experience is to literally start doing. And so one of the things I would do is...
How do you do investment banking, though?
Well, one of the things that would be really interesting would be to basically find a company, break it down, write an investment memo, and then send it to a bunch of the places that you think you might want a job, and introduce yourself and say, hey, look, I'm a kid in college. I think this is interesting. I would like to work at your company one day. I'm going to write these. I'm going to try to create one every 2 weeks or one a month or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to put it together and then I'm going to send it to you. I'd love any feedback you have. And what you'll find is just literally taking action will be rewarded. There's some people who just be like, wow, that's awesome. I love it. And then if you actually do high quality work, you'll probably get some pretty solid feedback and potentially could even get a job or an internship or whatever.
Anthony loves to hire people that he meets on Twitter, if they have done a quality meme that they sent to him, or if they've sent him a clip of hey, here's how you can improve lunch money, and they literally redid the video. It's cool because you can see how somebody works.
She's bringing this up because there is somebody who's helping me now with something that's going to get announced tomorrow on Wednesday. That literally I met because he kept sending me pretty high quality memes.
High quality memes.
High quality memes.
He kept referring to him as my meme guy, and I was like, you do not have a meme guy. Okay.
And eventually I was like, hey man, who are you? And he told me, and
he turned out to be an awesome guy.
Then we got on a Zoom call, met. I was like, hey, this kid's pretty smart. And I was like, I got some ideas that I need help working on. You want to help me? And he started helping with a little bit. Now he's helping with a lot of bit.
So yeah, and also when we met...
Send me fire memes.
When we met, Anthony got the job of being my boyfriend by just acting like my boyfriend. And I was like, I don't need this. And he was like, hello.
The first day I ever met Polina, I started introducing her as my girlfriend.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is this? I don't know you. I'm kidding.
I know.
Okay, so Joe... Okay, how do you pronounce last name? Because I don't want to mess it up. You're Italian.
I don't think that's Italian.
Gifrey.
Gifrey?
Gifrey?
Yeah, we'll say it's super
good.
American.
As two creators in the creator economy, what product or service do you wish existed when you first started out that still does not exist? I wish that there was somebody who would sell ads on my behalf, but like a boutique ad studio, but one person that I don't have to interact with the advertisers. I just say, yes, that's a good idea. No, I don't like that one. What do you think?
I don't think I'm a creator.
Okay, answer the question.
I'm just saying.
What do you wish that existed?
More persistence.
No.
Yeah.
Like a product or
Oh,
service?
product. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Come on,
I wish there was a way. Oh, I have a good one. I would love to have a way where a video or audio would immediately have super high quality, 100% accuracy in the transcripts.
Oh, transcripts for audio and video. That would be fire.
Yeah, but it's a very, very difficult problem.
Kathleen Benjamin. How much time do you guys spend preparing for lunch money, and where do you get your events to discuss? So 100% of the preparation comes from me. 0% comes from him, but he's already probably read that stuff on the internet before I bring it to him.
My life is preparation for lunch money.
Yeah, that's true. But I typically go to CNBC, CNN.com, TechCrunch. I get a bunch of newsletters like PitchBook 1440, the Wall Street Journal, and I scan through them, and I find these lovely topics for us to discuss.
You go to CNN.com/business.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. Okay.
I don't do any prep because I just bring my opinions. I'm like in a broadcast booth. There's the play-by-play person, and then there's the color commentator. I'm the color commentator. She does the play-by-play. I do the fun stuff.
The final question comes from 13 Hales, one of my favorite lunch money commenters. She asks, my question is for both of you. What are your sources of financial literacy knowledge, other than the important books like Rich Dad Poor Dad and Cash Flow Quadrant, etc.? I read both of those books already, and they changed my life. One of his favorites. When did you become financially literate? Are you self-taught, or did your family teach you? What are credible sources for people to gain real financial literacy? Not the BS version banks or the government will sell you, for example. Oh, you're so smart. Okay. For me, because my parents are immigrants, I grew up with a mindset of you gotta save everything. I was never taught to invest. I was taught to budget, which is also a very, very important skill. But before I met you, really, I didn't know what investing was. I think I had some money in Wealthfront. I just put a little bit of money in there and kept adding like $100 a month or every 2 months or something like that. But that's buying an index fund. That's like the S&P 500. I think that was good for me. But yeah, I think most people get it from their family. What do you think? And what resources are there?
So there's not a lot of good resources. That's part of the issue. There's some good books. You mentioned a couple of them. Like a lot of what Robert Kiyosaki's written is great. I tend to think that Dave Ramsey actually does a pretty good job of getting people out of debt. There's this book, The Tao of Capital, that I think is really good.
That's a really dense one, though.
It's super dense and may not be applicable to everybody. For me, I think the best thing was just psychologically training, or from a philosophical standpoint. My parents, for my brothers and I, they never gave us allowance, and like all of our friends, like people have like allowances and all this crazy stuff, but we never had that, and frankly we were probably like pissed about it as kids. I don't really remember, but what I do remember is that whenever we were like, hey dad, can I get $20 to go to the movie theater when we were in like high school or something, he literally would just be like, go do this or go do that. Like there was this teaching of, if you want money, you have to do something for it. And so I think that one like really helped us understand like the importance of working for money. Also on top of that, I think my brothers and I, each one of us all had like pretty low level like high school like jobs. Like I worked at Quiznos, I worked at Chick-fil-A, all that kind of stuff. And so I think all of that helps from an income standpoint and like let's work for money. When it came then to investing and saving, like for the longest time, my parents just kept telling us like, save just like everybody else. But the one thing that I think became apparent over time was seeing people and hearing from our parents like, hey, by the way, also like you should invest, right? Like investing is how you can grow money. And so I it was enough to put us down the rabbit hole. And then basically I just spent pretty much between like 18 and like 24. I just read everything I possibly could read about successful people. And it became obvious, like every single person, they basically became wealthy by doing one of two things. They either invested money or they owned equity in a company or an asset. And so that just became like obvious. Like, well, if all these other smart people do it, then I should do it too. One
book that recently came out that I love, and I think you really enjoyed it and will be helpful, called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, Housel. It's more mindset, but I think it explains the concepts really well. What?
Are you giving Morgan free ads?
Morgan, what's up? Yeah. Psychology of Money. I really liked it.
Go read it. It's a fantastic book. I've had him on the podcast. I've read the book, and that's actually a really good
And
suggestion.
He's an amazing writer.
Yeah. Not as good as Polina, but he's second best. He's second best.
He is really, really good.
All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bang, bang. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Lunch Money as much as we did.
And don't forget, Lunch Money is now sponsored by BlockFi, so go check them out. There's a link in the description that you can click on. I'm an investor, a user, and a huge fan. What?
You're a bigger fan of BlockFi than you are of me?
BlockFi is my second favorite thing in the world behind Polina. They've got 3 products. They can give you a US dollar loan. You can earn up to 8.6% interest on an interest-bearing account, or you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies on their crypto exchange. I personally use the interest-bearing account. There's not very many places where you'll find up to 8.6% interest on a deposit in an interest-bearing account. Go do your own research. There's risk associated, but 8.6% is pretty compelling. So click on the link in the description. Say thanks to the folks at BlockFi. Subscribe to our channel. Like the video. Annoy Polina in the comments. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
And be kind to your friends.